WrestleMania 35 is right around the corner. So, what better way for this edition of VGR Lockdown for us to go through all 16 matches slated for the card? Stick around as we give you a breakdown of the card and who we think is going to come out on top.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to VGR Lockdown. I am your host, Double A Ron, along with my main man, my friend, my guy, my best friend, my brother, Steven. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, man, doing well. So, it's WrestleMania season. We're going to go through our predictions on who we think is going to win and what's going to happen at WrestleMania 35. So, we're going to start this straight off. Let's start with the matches that are going to be on the pre-show. So, let's start with the most disrespected championship in the company, and that is the Cruiserweight Championship. You're going to have Tony Nese fighting Buddy Murphy for the title. Who do you think is going to win?
Buddy Murphy, but why is it disrespected?
Well, I mean, it's a title that every single solitary year it's ended up on a pre-show. This Cruiserweight title has never been defended. I don't even think it's been defended on pay-per-view. Typically, it's on the pre-show for the pay-per-view as well. That's why I say it's the most disrespected. It's always on the pre-show.
Who's talented enough to be on the main show?
It's not that. It can get a spot.
Nah.
Yeah. I mean, if we can have a segment for Elias to come out there and strum a guitar just to get beat up by some legends, we can get a quick 5-10 minute match of the Cruiserweight title. I'm just saying.
That's going to be a bigger pop, but Bobby Murphy. Let's move on.
Move it on. So then, you got your two Battle Royal matches. So, you got the Women's Battle Royal. Personally, I think Asuka's going to win. What about you?
If they really want to get good heat, Nia Jax.
You're awful. Now, see, why are you going with Nia Jax?
Well, she's a giant. She got good heat.
Actually, you can't pick Nia.
Why?
Nia has a title match. So she won't be in the Battle Royal.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right, well, it must be Asuka. That's why she lost the belt. It has to be.
And that's why I think they're going to give it to her. Because, I mean, part of the reason why she lost the belt was this WrestleMania has, I think, 16 matches. They determined that they didn't have space for it. So they might as well throw it in the women's match. And that's why she lost it. But I feel like almost they owe it to her for not letting her walk into WrestleMania as the champion and the lackluster championship reign she had.
Absolutely.
Now, I do have an asterisk by Asuka winning. If Lacey Evans is in the match, I think Lacey Evans is going to win.
We'll see. They like to build you stars by the Andre Battle Royal, but
yeah, I wouldn't say that.
They try. It never goes anywhere.
I don't think so, because at least the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal was cursed.
Oh, yeah. It's horrible. I don't know what they're doing.
So, moving on. Let's get to that. Who do you think is going to win?
Braun Strowman.
Really?
He has to. I mean,
I think they're going to do something stupid and let one of the Saturday Night Live guys win it.
I don't think I'm going to watch wrestling for a while if they do that. But you know what? My thing is, it's a lot of people that they misused that I could forgive. Dolph Ziggler. Okay. Cesaro. Okay. Shelton Benjamin. Zack Ryder. Okay. But Braun Strowman?
But do you want him to win? Now, we was just saying that the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is cursed.
I don't want him to be in it. Like, you could find a match that Braun Strowman could be in outside of the Battle Royal. It's horrible. It's horrible booking. If he wins, if he loses, I don't know. What did they go wrong with Braun? Like, what happened? Why is Vince McMahon mad at him?
From what I heard, it was a I don't want to say it's an attitude thing, but there were rumors that he was arriving late to the arena, not necessarily wanting to stay till the end, despite the fact that they're not obligated to do so. They don't have a standing order that says you have to be there from beginning to end. But it does make you look a lot better, especially if you want to make it into and stay in that main event area. But that's another topic for another day. So moving on, just because you mentioned his name a second ago, we're going to talk about Zack Ryder. So this is a last minute addition to WrestleMania, and the Revival got its match at WrestleMania this year, defending their tag team titles against probably the most undeserving team, which is Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, who haven't won a match, and they're pretty much getting a title shot because they're in New Jersey.
Well, I'm so sorry, Steven. I'm a little behind on some stuff. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, I actually just found out about this match about 30 minutes prior to us recording this.
You mean to tell me, with a straight face, that they cut Charlotte and Asuka's match, part 2, for that?
They didn't even cut Charlotte and Asuka's match. They cut the SmackDown Women's Championship match.
For that match.
For that.
For that match.
For that match.
Am I supposed to sit and act like I'm supposed to care about that match? You have one group who asked for their release, and the other 2 guys who've been known jobbers throughout most of their run, and that's on the main show. So
more than likely, that's won't be on the main show. That's going to probably be that last match they squeak out on the pre-show, or that's that match that's announced, and then WrestleMania comes and goes, and they forgot about it.
So you mean to tell me we couldn't have had the tag team tag team championship match instead of that?
The women's has a match as well.
They do.
Yeah. Okay. But who you think's gonna win? The top guys, the Revival, or the losing bros?
They want the Revival to stay around. They do not want them to go to AEW, so they're gonna have them win to keep them around. But you know what? I really don't care. I mean, that is a match I really don't care about.
You know what though? I think Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins are going to win. That's going to be that WrestleMania feel-good moment because, the whole story with them has been Kurt Hawkins can't get a win. And, kind of like they did with the B Squad, that they were jobbers and then they finally won that big one and got the belts. I think this is going to be the same thing, but I feel like they'll win and then the Revival will win the titles back
the next
Monday night.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sucks. I hate when they do that, but yeah, that makes sense.
So since we're on the topic of tag team match, let's keep moving on. So over on SmackDown, you got the Usos being punished for forfeiting their tag team match with trying to get Kofi to WrestleMania, but you got the Usos defending against Ricochet and Aleister Black, The Bar, and Nakamura and Rusev.
So I'm thinking it's going to be Ricochet and Aleister Black. I think they really got plans for those guys, and they are fresh. And there got to be a reason why Vince McMahon decided to make these NXT call-ups outside of just another body to fill. So I like to think that they're going to win the tag team championship belts. Who you think is going to win?
I got to disagree with you. I feel like the Usos are going to win. Partly because they just signed new contracts as well, and they won a WrestleMania moment, and I think they're going to win. Unfortunately, Aleister Black and Ricochet have had several title opportunities on both brands, and they haven't captured the belts. And I don't think they're going to capture the belts, at least until they get officially assigned to a brand. And I don't think that's going to happen until the Superstar shakeup. So I see the Usos walking away. If the Usos don't win, I got to give it to Nakamura and Rusev. I mean, they put those two together out of the blue, and so far they haven't really done anything.
I really think that WWE, I think Vince McMahon has a personal vendetta against Rusev. That's why I don't give it to him. I think Vince McMahon sees himself and says, I should be able to get a girl that looks like Lana. I'm a billionaire. Why can't I get a world like that? And I really think that he takes that out on Rusev. Because Rusev has so much. Did you see him in the rap battle on that show against Mark Cuban?
Nope.
Yeah. Bars. Rusev, bars. Him and Lana, bars. Rusev has so much charisma, and then he got in good shape. He's built like a tank now. And he has charisma, and he has mic skills, and he can work in the ring. And Vince McMahon just pairs him up with some random guy and has no plans for him. So I don't think Rusev is going to win. Honestly, I hope he's on his way out the door and on his way to AEW. That's my opinion. So yeah, I agree with you about that. If it's not going to be Ricochet and Aleister Black, it should be the Usos. Reward them for staying because they would have been at AEW's front door too if they had let them walk. So good for them. Mazel tov to the WWE.
All right, so moving on. Let's change gear. Let's go to the All Brand Championship that, for whatever reason, despite being defended on every brand, that's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, there are no NXT superstars in this match. But you got the Boston Hug Connection defending the women's tag team titles against Beth Phoenix and Natalya, the Iconics, and the Samoans, Nia Jax and Tamina.
I guess it's going to be either Beth Phoenix or Sasha and Bayley retain.
I see the champions retaining. Personally, I don't want to see Nia Jax and Tamina with the belt.
Hell no.
And then I feel like Beth Phoenix is more so around for a WrestleMania moment. Kind of like how you had the Divas of the past come back for a Women's Evolution pay-per-view. The Iconics,
trash.
I don't think they're... I don't know. I wouldn't say that they're trash, but I feel like at this stage in the game, Sasha Banks and Bayley are the right team skill-wise to hold the belt, because you want to build the prestige of that championship before you start moving it on.
Absolutely. So they retain, but please don't put it on Nia Jax and Tamina though. Good God.
All right, so next up, and you know what? I'm going to actually bring this up to the first one that we talk about, singles one-on-one matches. You got Daniel Bryan defending his hemp WWE Championship against Kofi Kingston.
Kofi's going to win.
I really want to agree with you. I mean, it's WrestleMania season. Kofi winning will give you that great feel-good moment. And then the fact that they switched gears and moved his championship match from Fastlane to WrestleMania. On one hand, I want to say that would be the right move. On the other hand, I have my doubts that they have the level of faith in Kofi being the champion to do that. I almost feel like it'll be a rehash of Booker T versus Triple H.
Well, the plan was for Booker T to win it. Triple H buried Booker T. That was different. Booker T had enough to win a championship and carry it for a couple months, just like Eddie and Chris Benoit did. Just because you win a championship, that's what the misconception is. Just because you win the championship doesn't mean that, now you're the new John Cena or now you're the new The Rock. Sometimes you could just win a belt. You have enough talent. You carry it for a couple months. It's a feel-good moment, and then you move on. A lot of times that's happened. If Kofi Kingston is a transitional champion, I wouldn't see it as a failure. Now, Daniel Bryan, they thought that he wouldn't hold up, but it was such a great moment. It is one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. So just go, and then you tell this great story. Why mess it up? Why piss off the fans? Vince McMahon has done that enough. I don't think he's got the balls to not have Kofi Kingston win the belt.
See, the fact that they so frequently do make the fans mad, I can see them doing that. But you know what? So let's change gears. Let's switch back over to Monday Night Raw. You got Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre.
Roman Reigns should win. It's his WrestleMania coming back from being sick. But I kind of want Drew McIntyre to win because they're trying to build prestige for Drew. But it's probably going to be Roman. But it should be a good match because Drew McIntyre is the type of style that Roman Reigns like. You would expect him to work really good with small, agile guys, but he works really good with the big bruisers. So I think Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns should have good chemistry. The match should be good.
See, this is an interesting matchup, and I feel like the winner of this match should also almost be tied to who's going to win between Brock and Seth Rollins. Mm-hmm. I feel like if Seth Rollins is going to win, Drew McIntyre should win. Because if Seth Rollins, he's a face. Brock Lesnar, more than likely, if he does lose, and we'll get to our match prediction on that a little bit later, but it's speculated that he's going to go on to fight Daniel Cormier for the UFC heavyweight title in August. So with that, I don't think there will be a rematch. This will be a one-off match. And I think that Seth Rollins is going to need a strong heel, to go up against after this match. Okay. And if he's champion, I think Drew McIntyre's that guy.
Well, you know what? A real strong heel for Seth Rollins, I think, would be perfect, would be Roman Reigns. That's something I've been thinking about for a while. And I don't know if Vince McMahon has the balls to do it.
I don't think so. I think this with everything that happened with Roman right now, I don't see a heel turn for him coming for a little while.
It'd be surprising, and it would get good heat for him.
It would be, but they tried that last year with Dean Ambrose, and we saw how that went.
Well, they didn't follow up good after that. But I think Roman Reigns, the writing was on the wall, and it's just one of those things where, you know, Seth expects Roman Reigns to step aside and leave.
I don't think he thinks he'll step aside. I think based on the storyline that they have right now and how they're friends, and but they're not necessarily interfering with each other's business. I think it would be one of those situations where it's like, you want a title shot, you got it. So, you know what? Moving on. Let's move on to this match, and it's maybe one of the matches that I am the least interested in, and that is Bobby Lashley versus Demon Balor.
Why are you least interested in that one?
It's been going on for a couple months, and then two, I think it was a terrible reveal that he's going to come out as the Demon at WrestleMania. How they did it on Raw with him, with that on-screen promo that was pre-taped, and you had the smoke, and he switched over to his Demon persona, and for whatever reason, I guess maybe he was watching Venom and wanted to do the whole tongue thing or something like that. I think they should have just announced the match.
Yeah.
And had him shock everybody and come out.
Because he hasn't done it, and it felt like years. Like, when's the last time you've seen the Demon character?
He hasn't done it in years, and it's a weird situation in the sense of he breaks out the Demon to fight for the IC title, but didn't break out the Demon to fight the Beast.
and that's what everybody was saying. Is that he has to bring that in to go against Brock Lesnar. That makes too much sense. But of course, it made too much sense. But Finn Balor's going to win the match probably. And hopefully he could be booked in a way where he makes the IC belt prestigious, because it's sad. I remember how much critics The Miz got, but that title was prestigious when it was with him. But now it just seems like it's floundering ever since, he's lost the belt.
Well, I thought the IC title was fine when it was on Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Seth Rollins, it was good with Seth. But then The Miz came back and beat Seth for it, right?
No.
Seth Rollins
had the belt back in like December.
The Miz beat Roman Reigns and then Seth beat The Miz. That's what happened. But either way, it felt prestigious. It still felt like Seth Rollins was a main eventer holding the IC belt. Now it feels like a bunch of mid-carders that need something to do.
I think under Bobby Lashley's watch, this whole Bobby Lashley Finn Balor feud has just gone on too long.
Absolutely.
All right, so now let's go over to the United States Championship. You got Samoa Joe possibly defending his belt against Rey Mysterio. And I say possibly because on this past Raw, Rey Mysterio kind of went down with an ankle injury. So they're not 100% certain if Rey's going to be able to go. Personally,
he always hurt.
I think Joe's going to win. It doesn't matter if it's Rey Mysterio or they bring in someone else. I got Joe winning. What about you?
I would go with Joe. I mean, definitely wouldn't want Rey Mysterio beating Samoa Joe. I think that would mess up his credibility. But who would be a good replacement if Rey Mysterio can't go?
That's a good question.
Why not Kurt Angle?
Kurt Angle has a match.
Oh gosh.
It's a weird situation. On paper, I would say Mustafa Ali, but since Joe just beat Ali on SmackDown, that doesn't make any sense. So I feel like if Ray can't go, I really don't see a real good, suitable replacement.
The Velveteen Dream. You know he blessed.
Like I said, I don't see a real good, suitable.
You such a hater.
Replace. I'm a Velveteen Dream fan, but he does still have to get through Takeover.
All right, well, go to the next match.
So, okay. You know what? I said Bobby Lashley versus Finn Balor may be the match that I may be the least interested in.
Oh, well, it's
but
worse.
Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin, I might be even less interested
I'm cringing right now. I knew you was going to have to bring up that match. Ugh. Are they really going to do that?
I hope not.
Like, they're going to change? What is John Cena doing right now?
Who knows?
Okay, he's not booked in the match right now, right?
Right.
Okay, so John Cena's going to replace Baron Corbin, right? It's a surprise. They trolling us right now. They joking with us.
I mean, because that was a terrible matchup. Nobody wants to see
They've been wrestling each other, right? Kurt already beat him, right?
No. Baron Corbin beat Kurt Angle. I think it's as far as farewell matches that I've seen them have at WrestleMania. I almost want to say that this might be the most disrespectful matchup.
By far.
I mean, hell, Triple H. Well, Batista is getting Triple H for his farewell match, and Kurt Angle gets Baron Corbin.
Ric Flair got Shawn Michaels. Mankind got The Rock and Austin.
Shawn Michaels got The Undertaker. And Kurt Angle gets Baron Corbin. Yeah. So, I think Kurt Angle's going to win. I hope Kurt Angle's going to win.
If he faced Baron Corbin, I hope he beats him in 5 minutes and says, I don't want to leave WrestleMania like that. Who else got some? I hope that's what happens. But if, like the real plan, and mind you, in Chicago, they were chanting, "We want Cena." Now, when is the last time you heard that? Was probably back in 2003. They said, "We want Cena" in Chicago. CM Punk's land. So, let me take a breath. I'm going to say, I hope that John Cena fights Kurt Angle. And if he fights Kurt Angle, I want John Cena to beat Kurt Angle. Because I think Kurt Angle needs to take an L.
That would be a fitting in, though.
Yeah. I think that would be good. Because Kurt beat John, his debut match. John beats Kurt on his way out the door. I think that's how it should go. And the fact that John Cena got squashed the last year's WrestleMania by The Undertaker in like 30 seconds. So, you don't want to hurt John Cena's prestige too much. I know he's an actor, but beating John Cena still needs to mean something. So, I would say John Cena for the win.
Okay. So, next up, let's go move back over to SmackDown. You got AJ Styles versus what I hope is going to be a motivated Randy Orton. Mm-hmm. I want Styles to win, but I also feel like Randy Orton needs a win. I mean, Randy Orton gets some wins here and there on SmackDown, but I think as far as the pay-per-views have been, I can't remember the last time I saw Randy Orton win.
The hell with that, Steven. Randy Orton's time is up. I heard he's trying to blackball him and say, I'm thinking about going to AEW to help his contract get better and help him get more money. I think he should really go to AEW. If they decided to release Randy Orton, I will be in 100% in support. He's talented, but he needs to redefine himself, and he cannot do that with the WWE for some reason.
I don't think he needs to redefine himself.
Yes, he does.
I think it's one of those situations where they need to find something for him to do that he's interested in.
He doesn't seem interested in anything. He was a WWE champion and he still seemed bored, Steven.
Well, I mean, he was going up against Jinder Mahal.
He's been gone for so long. Bray Wyatt.
Exactly. So I don't think he was interested in it.
Like I said, if you're a veteran and you're supposed to be a locker room leader, you got to be interested in everybody. John Cena was interested fighting Great Khali. All right, Randy Orton needs to have he needs to go somewhere, redefine himself, and go, because I think his time is done with the WWE, and I really don't want him to be AJ Styles, because AJ Styles means so much more to the company right now that losing to Randy Orton would just be stupid. No, I don't.
It would. I mean, and just due to the fact that AJ Styles did also sign a new contract,
and Randy Orton's contract is running out, and he's thinking about what he's going to do, even though he's been there since he was 19 years old. So I think Randy Orton should go. You should let him walk. I would let him walk. I would definitely let him walk. That's my opinion. He should lose.
All right, so next up, we got Shane McMahon versus The Miz in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Miz, I'm so tired of Shane McMahon being the way he's booked, as like he is like the toughest guy in the company. Like, why is it that Shane McMahon gave The Undertaker more gold than John Cena? Why did Shane McMahon give Undertaker more gold than Roman Reigns? And why is Shane McMahon in his 40s, out of shape?
I thought Shane was in his 50s.
Thank you. In his 50s, and not even a proven... He was a good wrestler, but that's not even his background. Why is he beating up all the current talent like he's Stone Cold Steve Austin? I mean, he almost beat AJ Styles. I thought he was going to win. So, I really want The Miz to win. And the way they wrote the story is as if The Miz was going to win. But making it no counts called count anywhere match was a very good idea because of Shane McMahon's style of wrestling.
I don't know. See, that's what worries me. The fact that it's falls count anywhere, I think it opens the door for Shane McMahon to win.
And it makes sense, and it seems like that's what they're going to try to do. But I just hope they don't do that.
I really hope they don't. I think that the Miz needs to get that win. I'd really like to see the Miz move back into the
main event scene.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I mean, he's been doing, and that's another problem I have with these older guys is coming back and just taking the belt or taking away from the younger guys because the Miz has been doing some of the best work of his entire career and arguably some of the best work in the entire company as a whole body of work. And they still haven't even put the WWE Championship on him. And they decided to put it on, what is his name? You know his name? You know what I'm about to say, right? Jinder Mahal. They put it on Jinder Mahal and not The Miz. That's a problem. I have a big problem with that. So he should be Shane McMahon. And for whatever odd reason, Kofi Kingston doesn't win the belt, which I doubt that happens. But if he doesn't, I think Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, with The Miz being a face and Daniel Bryan being a heel, will be very interesting TV to watch. So they should do that. Miz could take the belt off and see how he is as a face champion. See what happens.
I agree. Okay, so we're coming down to that home run stretch.
Okay.
You got Triple H versus Batista in a no-holds-barred match.
Well, apparently Batista said he wants Triple H to beat him on his way out the door. He wants to put Triple H over because Triple H put him over so well back in 2005, which I gotta say is probably one of the greatest storylines that in company history. That was everything about that story was great. So I can see why he would want to give love back because how much Triple H has done for him in his life and in his career. So I'm gonna go with Triple H. And, you know, I don't mind Triple H beating people like Batista or The Undertaker and guys like that. You know, he's an older guy. He is nothing really in the future. You're just fighting for the spectacle, which is fine. So Triple H beating Batista, I'm okay with. Now, I also heard rumors that Batista is actually planning on staying around and being a heel champion. And if that is the case, Batista needs to win. Because I would much rather Batista be carrying away on that WWE Championship than Brock Lesnar. That's just my opinion. I feel like he would be a much better heel.
Here's the interesting thing that I see. And on one hand, I agree with you. But oddly enough, the way I've been reading this match online is that I think the only career that's actually on the line is Triple H's, not necessarily Batista's. And based on what month we're in, or should I say what we're in right now, I think Batista might win because we're in the end game now.
I can't believe you just went there.
Yes, I went there. I mean, Batista has a movie coming out at the end of this month. And why not put him over? Give him that win. Give Drax the Destroyer a victory.
Well, Triple H don't look like he's ready to retire right now. That's why I don't think that's going to happen either.
But I think he is ready to retire in the sense of Vince McMahon is getting up there in age. And I think Triple H is the replacement to take over the company. So you have to end his in-ring career so he can.
Well, it is one more storyline I need to happen before he retires. Shane McMahon and Triple H need to go into a feud together. If that happens...
Why? For control of the company?
Yes.
But what about Stephanie?
Stephanie could back up her husband, but Stephanie's not going to go in there and get punched in the face by Shane McMahon. So as far as a wrestling match, she's irrelevant. But I'm talking about a real wrestling match. Man-to-man, model-to-model, who has control of the company, Triple H and Shane McMahon needs to happen. That needs to... I've been talking about that since 2015. That needs to happen. So before Triple H retires from in-ring action, I pray that happens. So I'm going to say Triple H. I'm going to go with Triple H. But if Batista sticks around, I'm hoping he sticks around and gets that belt and gets one more run with the belt. And does what the plan was initially, which the original plan was he holds the belt and goes to like movie premieres and they say, what's that belt? And he could give the WWE the publicity they're looking for. But as the smug, cocky Hollywood heel that worked so well back in 2010, that's working so well right now, I'm hoping he gets the belt. So that's how I'm expecting it to go.
All right, now so before we move on to our final two matches. We got the elephant in the room.
Okay.
And that's John Cena. Outside of John Cena replacing Baron Corbin to fight Kurt Angle, John Cena is potentially slated to have a mystery matchup.
Yeah.
Who do you think he's going to fight?
What's probably going to happen, and I'm sorry I'm sounding so bored, but it's such a boring idea. Well, this is the rumor. Elias is going to do his concert, and apparently John Cena is going to interrupt again. Elias is going to get mad and try to hit him with a guitar, and John Cena is going to snatch it and break the guitar. Elias is going to get mad and have a match with John Cena. The match is going to last about 5 minutes. John Cena wins. People will probably cheer or boo or whatever they're going to do. John Cena has his WrestleMania moment and blah, blah, blah. But that's what I'm thinking might happen. But do you have another idea? Because no one has been, that's the only person I heard that's supposed to interrupt Elias. I thought it was going to be The Rock, but The Rock probably had better things to do.
Well, I'm hoping they do something a little different. And they can even go through your whole boring thing. John Cena interrupts Elias and blah, 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 blah. But I'm really hoping, and they say he's doing well.
Who's that?
Lars Sullivan. And we get a John Cena versus Lars Sullivan matchup. With Lars Sullivan, of course, destroying John Cena.
I mean, maybe. You think that after his whole breakdown that he's ready?
I think he is. I was really hoping that more was going to come out about the anxiety attacks that he was having back when he was initially going to debut. Because what crazy thing was, he never seemed to have any anxiety problems or anything like that when he was down in NXT.
Well, I'm sure it's a different pressure. You hanging with a bunch of unknowns or relatively known people to, okay, now we're just going to put you in the main roster against one of the greatest superstars of all time. I mean, that's a lot more pressure than what he had on NXT, so I can understand if he didn't feel ready, why he would feel the same anxiety. On one hand,
it would be more pressure, but on the other hand, I feel like it's actually more pressure being an NXT superstar than a main roster superstar. Because when it comes to those takeovers, pay-per-views, you got to deliver.
Absolutely, but I'm just saying the role, like he still is kind of protected at NXT. A lot of guys are protected at NXT, while a lot of guys are successful at NXT and not in the main roster. So I'm guessing him going against John Cena, he may have just felt like, oh my God, if I don't do this right, I'm gonna end up like Bray Wyatt in 2 years. I don't know. He probably just went through a lot of emotions. So that's probably what happened. But I don't know enough about Sullivan's work in order to say whether or not I'm interested in that match.
Okay. All right. So now let's move on. We got the Universal Championship on the line. Brock Lesnar, the Beast, versus the Kingslayer, soon to be Beast Slayer, Seth Rollins.
Well, I'm going to actually go with Brock Lesnar because it's Vince McMahon, and he is oh so happy his boy is back. So what I think he's going to do is have Brock Lesnar win, put Roman Reigns in a couple feuds for a couple months until Brock Lesnar is ready to come back, and have Roman Reigns beat Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, just so he can have the belt back.
I hope not. I really hope. Now, I do agree with one thing. I do see Brock Lesnar walking away with the belt. And part of that is due to the fact that they let Steph stand strong on Monday Night Raw. Mm-hmm. Granted, he had to resort to 2 low blows to actually get him down. They let him stand tall, which typically seems a little odd. But then again, to build some kind of interest in this match, the way this whole feud has played out, Seth Rollins never got that stand tall moment. So, I mean, it could be the swerve, but I feel like Brock might walk away with this one again.
He very well could, and I do think the Roman Reigns thing is true, which I hope it's not. I really hope Seth Rollins is going to win, but my thing is, it's too many happy moments, and I don't think Vince McMahon wants all happy moments on WrestleMania. That's true,
and I think that, you know what, let's move on to our final match, and I think that this is part of the reason why, despite the fact that I think these women deserve that main event spot, but when you don't have a match that's going to end WrestleMania on that feel-good moment, you go with something like this, and you got Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch for all the women's titles, except for the tag team, of course. And that opens the door for Brock Lesnar to also walk away with the belt. Exactly.
Because Kofi has to win because of the story. And then we know Becky, me and you both agree that Becky is going to win. She has to. So Seth Rollins is going to be the odd man out.
All right, so since we both agree that Becky Lynch is going to win, who do you think she's going to defeat?
She's going to defeat Charlotte. She's going to pin Charlotte. Honestly, Charlotte is just put in this match to take the fall. It's so funny because even ESPN disrespects Charlotte, like Charlotte in the match. Like, what did they say about Ronda Rousey? UFC champion, women's champion, and then Becky Lynch, former women's champion, and blah, 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 and all her accolades. Charlotte, Ric Flair's daughter. That was it. That sounds like a third wheel.
It is the third wheel, but it's the third wheel more so how they put her in the match.
They put her in the match down.
And I feel like if they were going to do the 3-way match, that either A, Becky should have never won the Royal Rumble, and they should have just let Charlotte win, and they let Becky earn her way in like they made her do after she won the Royal Rumble anyway. Yeah. Or B, and it may be a height difference thing, or maybe that the men have botched this several times, do the double elimination. And then you build to it that way.
That could help. That would be better. And I heard it's some type of stupid rule. Like, it's a thing where both titles ain't up for grabs. Like, is it true where if
both titles are, whoever wins is going to be both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm trying to figure out how they're going to walk their way out of this once this is all said and done.
No, apparently the rule was if Ronda is pinned by Becky, she walks away with both belts. But let's say Ronda pins.
No, this is winner takes all.
Okay, they changed it because I heard if Ronda pins.
No, this is all. Whoever wins Becky, walks out with both belts.
She don't get both belts.
Yeah, whoever wins got both belts.
Okay,
which I'm trying to figure out how they're going to get. You know, I don't think they haven't built this as a unification match, and I hope not, because then that leaves speculation that the brand split might be ending.
Well, I'm thinking either they're going to have Becky go to both brands, which could overexpose her, which is a bad idea, or they're just going to have her lose one of the belts the next night. So we'll see, or lose the next belt at the next pay-per-view, and then move on like that. I don't know. I don't know what their plan is, but Becky is definitely winning.
Yeah. All right. So hey, thanks for joining us for our WrestleMania 35 prediction of VGR Lockdown. Make sure, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. You can catch all of our old episodes on YouTube, Anchor, Google Podcasts. We'll catch you guys next time.
Heard you better describe, man. Subscribe!